Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're going to talk about something that's, honestly, a secret weapon for software architects: architecture scenarios. You can think of them as the hidden blueprints that make sure the stuff we build is tough, dependable, and basically ready for anything the world throws at it. So, how do we test these blueprints before a single line of code is written? Let's dive in.
So to really wrap our heads around this, let's start with an analogy from the real world. Picture this: you're in charge of building a massive, gleaming skyscraper. How on earth do you know for sure that it can handle a big earthquake before you've even broken ground? I mean, you can't just build the whole thing and, hope for the best, right? So, what do you do?
And the answer? Well, it's actually pretty simple and kinda elegant. You test the blueprint. You run all sorts of simulations. You analyze every single structural plan against known stresses and forces. You find the weak spots long before they have a chance to become catastrophic real-world failures.
And that right there, that's the perfect way to think about what we're doing in software. Our systems, just like those skyscrapers, have their own kind of blueprints. We call it their architecture. And these digital blueprints, well, they need the same kind of tough, rigorous testing before we commit to building them.
This is exactly where the architecture scenario comes into play. At its heart, it's just a structured story. It's a little thought experiment we run. We come up with a narrative that describes a specific event. We call that a stimulus. And then we map out exactly how we expect our system's architecture to respond. It's basically our way of asking the blueprint, hey, what happens if this happens?
So, what do these stories actually look like? What are the building blocks? Let's go ahead and dissect the anatomy of a scenario to really see what makes it tick. It's probably a lot simpler than you think.
Okay, this right here is the heart of it all. Every single architecture scenario, I don't care how complicated it seems, is built from just three core parts: a stimulus, a response, and a measurement. That's it. Let's make that real with an example. All right, take a look at this classic example for, say, an online shop. The stimulus is 20 concurrent users all hit the system at once. That's the event, the thing that happens. The response is what we want the system to do. The system handles all requests. Simple, right? It doesn't fall over, it does its job. But here's the absolutely crucial part: the measurement. All responses happen in under 3 seconds. See? That makes the goal totally concrete. And most importantly, we can actually test it.
Now, for those of you who want to get a little more advanced, some of the more formal methods out there, like ATAM, that stands for the Architectural Trade-off Analysis Method, they add a few more optional bits of detail. You can get specific about the source of the stimulus, like a user. You can define the environment, like, is the system just running normally? And you can even pinpoint the artifact, the exact part of the system that's getting hit. You don't always see these, but man, they can add some serious precision when you need it.
Okay, so we know what they are, but why are they so critical? Why bother with all this? This is where scenarios go from being just a neat idea to an absolutely essential, non-negotiable part of the process. They are the bridge that takes us from fuzzy, vague goals to something real and testable. Just think about it for a second. A business stakeholder comes to you and says, the system needs to be fast. Okay, what on earth does fast actually mean? It's totally ambiguous. A scenario forces us to nail it down. Like we just saw, fast becomes responds to 20 users within 3 seconds. Secure becomes a specific story about blocking a particular kind of cyber attack. Scenarios are the enemy of ambiguity. And honestly, the benefits just keep stacking up from there. Writing these stories helps us find those nasty hidden risks before they become huge, expensive problems down the road. They force us to have honest conversations about design trade-offs. They create this perfect, clear line, connecting a technical choice all the way back to a business goal. And maybe most important of all, they give us a prioritized roadmap for managing our biggest threats. That last point brings us to another key piece of industry lingo you'll hear all the time: the risk register. It sounds formal, but it's really just a list. It's a prioritized list of all the technical risks the team has found that they need to keep an eye on and manage. It's like the project's official watch list.
So here's the big connection, the thing you gotta get. Your list of architecture scenarios isn't just some abstract design activity. Every single scenario is basically a potential technical risk you need to think about. And that is why a well-prioritized list of scenarios is the #1 most important input for your project's risk register. It is the absolute foundation of smart, proactive risk management.
All right, so if these scenarios are so great for managing risk, how do we actually do that? How do we use them to find their problems in the first place?
This brings us to the how, the methods that professionals use to organize this whole process and really evaluate an architecture.
The main tool for getting all this thinking organized is called a utility tree. And look, don't let the name intimidate you. It's really just a simple, top-down way to break down those big, high-level quality goals into the specific testable scenarios we've been talking about.
This slide shows it perfectly. You start at the very top, level 1, with a big fuzzy goal, a quality attribute, like performance. Then you refine that down a level to something more specific, like latency. And finally, that leads you all the way down to level 3, the concrete architecture scenario itself, our web shop test from earlier. See, it's a clear path from a vague business need to a precise yes or no test.
Okay, so we've got our scenarios all neat and tidy in a utility tree. Now what? Well, now we have to actually evaluate them against the architecture we've designed. And for that, architects rely on proven, systematic methods to guide the analysis. Historically, there are two big ones you'll hear about: SAM, the Software Architecture Analysis Method, and its more modern successor, ATAM. SAM was one of the first, and it really focused on one main thing: a system's modifiability, how easy it would be to change in the future. ATAM, on the other hand, takes things way further. It's designed to look at multiple quality goals at the same time: performance, security, usability, you name it. And crucially, it's designed to uncover the trade-offs between them.
This chart just makes that difference pop. You can see SAM there, with its narrow focus on modifiability, and then you see ATAM, with this much wider scope, looking at a bunch of different things and explicitly calling out the trade-offs. For instance, ATAM helps you see that a decision that makes your system way more secure might also make it a little bit slower. It's built to find those exact spots where you're forced to make a hard choice.
And what you get out of an ATAM review is just pure gold for a project. It formally identifies your risks. Those are the design choices that are likely to cause problems. It also confirms your non-risks, which is great because it tells you which parts of your design are solid. It shines a big spotlight on sensitivity points, places where one tiny change could have a huge impact on quality. And of course, it exposes those critical trade-off points we were just talking about, where making one thing better makes another thing worse.
We have covered a ton of ground here, all the way from the basic anatomy of a scenario to these powerful professional methods for evaluating them. So let's bring it all home and really zero in on the single most important thing to remember from all this. If there is one thing you walk away with today, let it be this. Architecture scenarios are the absolute essential tool for taking vague, fuzzy requirements and turning them into concrete, measurable descriptions. They are how we make absolutely sure that everyone, from the CEO to the newest developer, is talking about the exact same thing when they use words like fast or secure or user-friendly. And so, I'll just leave you with this one last thought to chew on. On your next project, or hey, even the one you're working on right now, what hidden risk is lurking just below the surface? What critical trade-off are you making without even realizing it? A single, well-defined scenario might be all it takes to bring it out into the light. Thanks for watching.